Hey everyone, what's up? It's your host Simone here.
And I'm Nafees.
And welcome back to I Was Thinking.
Yay! Name change.
Yes, the name change has been here for a while. Well, no, it was still always I Was Thinking. It's just not our names anymore since we added Macy.
Yeah.
So instead of I Was Thinking with Nafees and Simone, it's just I Was Thinking.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Macy's not here right now.
Is she still moving or what's up with her these days?
I think she's still in the process of moving, but she'll be back, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So how are you, Simone? How's it going?
I'm surviving.
Surviving.
Hopefully I don't sound too tired or sad. I'm fine. Life's hard a little. Life's a little hard right now, but I'm getting through it. How are you, Nafees?
I'm doing okay. This last week, honestly, last few weeks, I should say, has been a little bit overwhelming because school started back up and now everything is face to face. And oh my goodness, like literally from day 2 forward, we get like calls whenever there's like a positive COVID case in school. And like every afternoon, it's like, the school board would like to inform you that there are 4 positive cases at your school. And like, I don't know, it's just very anxiety inducing, I guess.
So what happens when you guys get that call? Like, is only that class has to like quarantine, or what's the protocol?
They inform the whole school just to let everybody know that there are positive cases here.
Okay.
But if it were to happen in a classroom, anyone that is surrounding that person would be quarantined for like a week and a half or 2 weeks.
Okay. And what about masks? Like, I mean, I know it's not, I hope you guys remember we live in Florida, so.
Yeah. We have interesting policies.
Yeah. So how is it with your school as far as wearing the mask? I'm assuming it's not enforced, right?
It is and it isn't. So right now, the school board said for like the next 30 days, adults are required to wear masks, but students, they are requiring that the students wear masks as well. But if they don't want to, they can bring a parent's note saying that they don't want their child wearing a mask, and that should be that.
Okay.
But yeah, they still have the option of not wearing it, which is, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Actually, I do know how I feel about that. I don't like it.
I know. Okay. I was going to say, do we want to talk about... I mean, we should probably get to our main topic today, but just to catch us up on real life. But politics aside, Nafees, what are we talking about today?
On a lighter note, today we're going to do a movie review / discussion of...
Yay, our first one. Well, our first movie review.
Yes, this would be our first movie review.
Yeah, since we're trying to broaden our topics too.
Exactly. So we're going to go with a 2013 movie called What If? It stars Daniel Radcliffe, Zoe Kazan. She's also in The Big Sick. I'm not sure if you heard of that one.
The Big Sick or Big Six?
Big Sick.
No, I haven't. Is that a movie or a TV show?
No, it's a movie. It's also on Amazon Prime, I think.
Okay. No, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, she's in that one. And then Daniel Radcliffe, we obviously know from Harry Potter.
Exactly.
Honestly,
Mr.
the reason why I decided to watch that movie. I'm like, let me see him in something other than Harry Potter.
Have you never seen a movie or TV show like he's been in outside of Harry Potter? I actually really like him as an actor. So I've seen other stuff he's been in or like guest starred.
This is actually my first like production, I guess you could call it, outside of Harry Potter that I've seen him in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen trailers of his other movies, but I never like actually watched them.
Gotcha.
So this is the first full-length feature that I watched.
Okay. Also, real quick, did this movie come out in 2013 or 14? I thought on Amazon Prime it said it came out in 2014, or was it 13? I don't remember.
I have it down as 2013.
Oh, maybe does Amazon Prime have it wrong?
I don't know.
I could have sworn it said 14, but it doesn't matter. Anyway.
Going off based off of what Google said.
All right.
Doesn't matter now. It's like over 8 years, 9 years old?
It's like, exactly. It's only a year apart.
Yeah. And then let's see who else is in here. Adam Driver's in here. I heard he's a pretty popular actor. I haven't heard of him before, but
I've heard the name and I know what he looks like, but you asked me what movie he's in and I couldn't tell you. I think he's in some Star Wars movies. Doesn't he play, what's that guy's name? If y'all can't tell, I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm sorry.
Luke Skywalker?
No, it's not Luke Skywalker. It's like, oh my God, it's gonna bother me. You know what? Forget it. Once we're done recording, I'll be like, oh, it's this name.
Yeah.
So, like, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Oh my gosh, that's where I saw him. He's in Marriage Story. The one with Scarlett Johansson. Okay. I knew his face was familiar. I just didn't know, like, what he was in.
If any Adam Driver fans are listening to this, they're gonna come for us.
I
Like,
know.
you don't know
I'm
who
sorry,
Adam Driver
guys.
is? I'm like, sorry.
I'm not into American, like, actors like that. Sorry. But yeah, so then we also have Mackenzie Davis as Nicole, which is, well, Adam Driver, or Alan, as his name is in the movie. So she's the girlfriend, soon-to-be wife. And then Megan Park as Dahlia, as Zoe Kazan's sister in the movie.
Yes, and where I've recognized the sister from was I used to watch this TV show before it became Freeform, ABC. I said American ABC Family. The one with Shailene Woodley in The Secret Life of the American Teenager. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Okay, yeah. I don't remember her character, but I think she's supposed to be like a cheerleader and like super preppy and stuff like that. Very Christian as well, because it's a TV show about like Shailene's character. You know, they're like in high school, and it's like when teen pregnancies was like really, I don't want to say big, like they were popular. They were common. So like she got pregnant in high school. It was basically her being a teen mom. And like the stigma behind that.
Oh, okay.
It was like good at the time, but I can't tell you if I rewatch it, I noticed like some toxic traits back there or not. But I remember I used to watch the show. So
okay, yeah, I remember that show, but I never watched it again. But okay, so that's good. They all have like some sort of background somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's more probably well-known actors in this as well. I just couldn't tell you like who they are, because like Nafees said, I'm more the person, I don't keep up with like American actors, so like if I recognize them, I always tend to say what they're from before I know their name. So I'll be like, oh, she was in like this movie and played this character. Can't tell you the name unless I really like them or seen a bunch of movies they're in.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much the same way too. Like, I'll recognize you from somewhere, but sometimes I just won't know your name unless you're like pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Unless you're Dylan O'Brien.
Oh yeah, I had a student recommend another movie by him called Love and Monsters. Apparently that one's pretty good too.
I think that's new.
Yeah,
it's
relatively new.
We should watch that and discuss it.
We should. The student was like, I watched this 3-time miss. You should watch it. I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
It has him in it, so I'll watch it.
I don't think I've ever watched a movie that many times.
Yeah, really?
I mean, because sometimes if I rewatch stuff, like I'll remember what happened, so I won't pay attention as much the first time. There are some movies where like I will rewatch in like TV shows, but I usually try not to unless like we're doing this stuff, I'm discussing them and I need to remember something like important. But if I've seen it, I remember the gist of stuff.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and jump right in. So those of you that don't know so the movie name is called What If. I think it also has another name called...
Does it have another name?
Yeah, it does. So it's What If or the F Word, I think.
Those are two... What?
Yeah, it's called the F Word, but it's released in some countries as What If. Don't know why. Probably has to do...
Where is it called the F Word? What countries?
I don't know.
Amazon Prime, it says What If. And that makes a better sense than the F Word.
I think it's kind of how like Korean dramas do it, how they have like one title, but then you can also search it up under another title. Could be that thing. Or it could have been its first name and they decided to change it for other purposes. Who knows?
Okay, I'm just trying to think if you watch the movie, that second title, how that correlates.
But the F is supposed to stand for friends, not for, the other thing.
Oh, you see where my mind went? Okay, never mind.
We all know where your mind went.
Sorry.
But it's not just you, it's everybody's mind that probably went there too.
If you're not innocent.
But yeah, so that was the other title for it. But yeah, those of you who have not seen the movie. So it's called What If. It's basically about two main characters who instantly hit it off. They decide to be just friends.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote, just friends, yes. And then the plot thickens where they have like, they start hanging out. They have many interactions and like a lot of moments of attraction. But they choose to, remain friends and not act on those feelings. And so that's basically how the plot is going. There is the main actress. Her name is Chantry. That's the character name. She does have a boyfriend whose name is Ben. And he's like this high profile dude, or very important in the UN. His job is with the United Nations. So he has to travel. So when she meets Wallace at this party, that's basically like the beginning scene. So Wallace and Chantry, they meet and then they walk home. Chantry mentions that she has a boyfriend. When she mentioned that, I really thought she was lying just to play. I did too.
I really thought she knew like Wallace was flirting with her the whole time and like to make him stop. She was like, "Oh, I have a boyfriend." And I was like, "Oh no, this chick really has a boyfriend."
Yeah, she really did. And he's actually important. So
but another thing too, I thought Ben was a fake boyfriend at first when they introduced him. I thought he was the gay best friend when they were in the kitchen scene when Wallace comes over Chantry's place for dinner. I was like, oh, he must be pretending to be the boyfriend. I didn't realize he was the actual boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they leave on that note and then they just start interacting as friends. And like I said, they have moments of attraction. And then over time, confusion ensues and they're just confused.
Lots of confusion.
And then at the end, they do end up getting together, but the way they end up getting together is just so irritating. But anyway. Because, okay, so...
Wait, do we want to talk about it now or do we want to talk about your other points and then talk about that later?
We'll wait.
Okay.
Just remind me, though, if I do forget.
I will.
Okay. But yeah, so... That's essentially the main story. So if you're into that, girl already in a relationship meets guy who's single, who recently broke up with his ex, by the way, who cheated on him.
That's why he's sad. Yeah, because I think at the party he was like, I wish that I wrote down like what he was putting on the magnets. So I was like, okay, dude, really?
Yeah. It was supposed to be like a strange first interaction. Like quirky. That's how I would describe it. Quirky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Quirky.
We'll go with that word.
All right. So what are your first thoughts? What did you think about the movie when you started watching it?
I was just like, what is going on? I was just really confused at first. Like I knew it was like a romance movie. And then when they started talking like, oh, okay, it's a rom-com. And like, it's just your basic, if you can't tell, I'm not a big like rom-com person, especially like early 2000s or like 2010s rom-coms because they are a little cheesy. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, oh, it's just like your basic American rom-com. Nothing wrong with it. It's just basic. It was fine. Yeah, just basic.
I think it's a good like one-time watch when you have like nothing else to do. Yeah. But it's not something that like I'll go out of my way to watch.
It wasn't like my favorite movie, but it wasn't completely bad. I also don't know if I'm just saying this because we're in different times. Because, this movie is how old? We're in 2021. This came
2013, right? So 8 years old.
Yeah, like if I had watched it back then, at the age I'm at now, maybe I would have had a different opinion than I do now. Because we look at like relationships and friendships differently than back then.
That's funny that you bring that up because... No, actually, I'll bring this up when we talk about the frustrating parts later.
Because I can't be like back then, like how old I was, because I was in high school. So I would have completely had a different like mindset. Yeah. But like if I was the age I'm at now, 24 back then and watched it. But you would also have to think of like the mindset of people like in 24 had. So it could have been a lot different.
That's true.
Yeah.
I will say this. If I had watched it right when it was released, I would be like, 2 years into college, so damn, that just tells you my age.
Sorry. I keep doing that to you. I'm sorry.
Honestly, I would have thought this story was cute. Now I actually have issues with it, but at the time I would have been like, oh my god, this is so cute.
Right. Like, this is like goals.
Yeah, and now I'm just like, no. There are steps that you need to take before. But anyway, okay.
I agree. So, and that also just could be us as people.
And I'm not talking about like the marriage thing. I'm talking about like a fidelity thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. But yeah, I thought the movie was nice in a way. Like, it started off really quick. Like, the pacing was very quick in the beginning. Yeah. And I didn't know if it was supposed to be like that, like snap, snap, snap. But the characters they met right away, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, this is starting right now. And then they like go on their walk. I'm like, okay, where is this supposed to go? So far, so good. I liked it. It was a bit fast paced, which kind of made me a little anxious. I was like, okay, where is this going? But the banter, though, to be honest, I didn't think it didn't come off as flirting to me in the beginning. Did it come off as flirting?
It came off as nerdy flirting to me.
This just shows you that if someone were to, like, I would just not know what they're doing. Because, like, I didn't think like they were flirting. I just thought they were being weird together. But then, like, throughout the course of the plot, like, I started to realize, like, okay, this is how they flirt. Like, this is how they do their thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because then, like, that makes a connection to, like, the very first instance of how, like, that's just their thing of saying, like, really weird things. But yeah.
It's just, like, how your personality is. Like, I picked up right away because they have similar personalities. So I knew that's their ways of flirting. Whereas, like, if Wallace was, like, a playboy and tried to flirt with Chantry, you would immediately knew he was flirting with her. But she would probably react different because that's not her personality. Like, that's probably not something she's attracted to. It would come off, like, as too much cheesy. Or if even she was trying too much on, like, him being, like, the, I just find you cute, I want to sleep with you type personality. So... yeah.
And also, like, I don't know if you had this problem, but I couldn't unsee, like, Harry Potter in the beginning.
So, did we talk about this? Yeah, I can't remember if we talked about this before the recording or not. I've seen Daniel Radcliffe and stuff outside of Harry Potter, so I'm used to him just as Daniel Radcliffe, not as, like, Harry.
Right.
So I didn't have that problem.
No, for me, this was the first time that I saw him in anything outside of Harry Potter. So for me, it's like, Harry, what are you doing, Harry?
I also just thought it was interesting how he was the only British person in this whole, I mean, besides his sister.
Yeah.
But like in this whole movie.
I actually didn't catch that. You're right, though. They are the only ones that are British. I was
confused where they were. And I guess they're in Canada. They're in Toronto. Yes, they weren't even in America.
Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were in New York, and I didn't realize that till later.
Then that would have been the absolute typical rom-com if they were in New York.
But they weren't.
But yeah, that was basically my overall impression. I liked the banter. The banter was nice. A lot of it went over my head. Some of it I did not think was funny, but it did have like a few like laughs here and there. But I liked it. I mean,
especially that sandwich that like connected them. Is that a real sandwich? What is it called? Fool's Gold?
Fool's Gold, yeah.
I've never heard of that until I watched this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of it before.
Well, they said that was a sandwich like Elvis used to.
Ate, yeah.
Yeah, so really I'm assuming it's a real thing. But it sounds and looks disgusting.
Yeah, it was fine up until they said you put bacon in it. And I'm like, that is just when you, no. Peanut butter, jelly, fine. It's just one massive sandwich at that point. But when you add bacon, it just makes it weird. I don't know. I guess it is for some people. It's not for others.
Well, I already don't like peanut butter and jelly. So
really?
Yes, I don't like peanut butter. I'm not the biggest fan on jelly unless it's like strawberry. Well, that's not really jelly. That's like jam, like strawberry jam. But yeah. So that was already gross enough for me. And then, like you said, you put bacon in it. And like, I love bacon, but I'm like, gross.
Yeah, all of it together does not make sense.
Sounds like a heart attack waiting to happen. I take one bite and I'm on the floor.
I think that's the point. But anyway.
Okay. Either on the floor or just in the bathroom.
What did you think about their chemistry, though? Did you think it worked?
I mean, you saw it instantly, like when they first started talking, especially when they were rearranging those magnets on the refrigerator. So that's how I knew immediately that they were flirting with each other. See, I can tell when other people are flirting with each other. I can't tell when people are flirting with me. So
I have a problem both ways.
That's one thing. But yeah, like you could tell it's there. And then like you said at the beginning when she's like, I have a boyfriend, I really thought she just wanted to be friends with him. So I didn't know she actually did have a boyfriend because I couldn't see her and Ben's chemistry at all. Like I said, I thought he was just the fake boyfriend, so Wallace would just be her friend.
I think that's because they didn't really show a lot of them.
Like together?
Like they...
Yeah,
they didn't really show that. We were just supposed to assume they had a really awesome 5-year relationship and onwards.
Right, like 5 years. And they weren't... Well, wait, were they living together or no? Chantry and Ben? Okay. Like, where were the pictures of him? In the house.
Oh, they were there. Remember how he went to go get like a saline solution?
Oh, maybe I just wasn't paying attention then.
And he stopped for a second and he looked at their pictures before he chucked him out the window.
Yeah, that was dramatic. I was like, really?
Oh, God. Great first impression.
Right.
I did find the little animations that they had of like the butterfly. I thought that was cute.
What was that supposed to represent again? Her mom?
Yes.
Do we want to talk about like the characters? The characters, like the deepened characters, since we mentioned Chantry's mom, because they all got their backgrounds.
So we're just going to focus on like the main ones. So Chantry, which is the main female lead. Daniel, whose name is Wallace. Yeah. And then his best friend, Alan. Do you want to mention the sister as well?
Does she play a big role in it? I mean, we can talk about Alan's girlfriend because I think she plays like a little bit bigger role than the sister.
Yes.
And we also forgot to mention, isn't Chantry and Alan cousins?
Yes, Chantry and
Alan. That's how they ended up being in the same party. Because it was Alan's party for something. And Chantry was there because that's their cousins.
Yes. That is a very good point to bring up. Forgot to mention that.
Yeah, just to show how they're all connected and not just like randomly like...
Right.
I mean, it could have been, but why would Chantry be there?
That would make sense, yeah.
I don't remember what they were actually celebrating at the very beginning.
I don't remember either. I just saw party and then that's all I saw.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, they're at a party. Great. But yeah, let's start with Chantry. What did you think of her? Main lead.
I know. I was just trying to think if I had any thoughts on her.
I honestly thought, while you're thinking,
okay,
that I thought I liked her. She's cute, but I don't know. I think I liked her less than I liked Wallace, just because she's a little bit hypocritical in some things. As in, like for example, when he like confessed to her, and she like had this problem of like how he went to Dublin to see her. And she thought he went there to break her and Ben up. And then she accuses him of being things, but she also was responsible for half of it too, which he does bring up. And I'm like, yes, make sure you tell her what her problem is too. But yeah, like her hypocrisy was kind of like what bugged me a little bit about her.
That's what bugged me too, especially that you're talking about the scene in the diner when she comes back from Dublin from seeing Ben. And then she calls Wallace, like, hey, I'll be waiting for you. And he actually went to Dublin. And then he has to rush back. And then when they start talking about like, oh, I went to go see you. And she just starts like crying, accusing him of like all these different things. I'm like, you do know you play also a bigger role in this. And for you to say you don't have feelings with him outside of friends is a lie. So, I mean, she mentioned it to her sister a little bit towards the end. Like she was pushing all her insecurities and doubts on Wallace with their fight. So I appreciated her for like admitting her mistakes later on. But that scene, I was like, you're just as hypocritical as him.
You know, I really liked though, like any time she accused him of anything, like for example, like when they went skinny dipping too, and she calls him an asshole basically. And he's like, I'm standing here with literally leaves and you have a sleeping bag. How am I the asshole? I'm like, he's not afraid to bring up like her fault in the problem too.
Yeah, that's what I did like about Wallace. He was like, I don't want to say like playing the blame game, but he would bring out like, it's not just me. So like, don't put the whole blame on me. So.
But yeah, like her character, I think this character could have honestly used a little bit more development. In my opinion. I don't know. Or maybe she's just supposed to be like that. I don't know.
Development how? Like how? How would you think she would need more development? I mean, do they also give their ages in this? Because you also have to think about their ages, to be honest. Like, they're probably all young. Like, maybe earlier mid-20s.
So she's She's an animator, and he's a medical school dropout. So I want to say like early 20s. That would make sense.
I mean, I think even mid-20s, like maybe 25, 26.
Yeah. Yeah, they did not seem like they were nearing 30 or anything.
Well, because you have to think, how old is Ben? Like, how old do you have to be like a UN translator? Or I don't remember his exact position, but you would have to think he has to be probably in his like early 30s or late 20s for that type of position, right?
Yeah, maybe mid 20s to like late 20s. I don't know. Her character just felt underdeveloped.
I would just say that like an age thing, to be honest, not to like excuse her actions, but
I guess it could be an age thing. We'll just call it an age thing then, and not a character thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but what I did appreciate about her character is that after that whole like fight she was having with Wallace in the diner, I thought she was going to tell him that she did break up with Ben, but she decided like to put her career ahead, because I guess when she went to Dublin, Ben asked her to stay with him because he didn't tell her that they offered him like another 6 months there. And she kept turning down like that promotion that her boss was giving her for the animation, but it's all the way in Taiwan. So when she's like, I chose my career, I was like, okay, so I don't hate you too much anymore.
Yeah.
Don't choose people over yourself.
Yeah. But like as far as like the career thing though, I don't think she ever compromised herself for her relationship. Like she didn't go for project manager because she didn't like it. She didn't want it. She was literally like, there's too much paperwork. I don't want to deal with that. So in that sense, I guess, like, go girl, like, she always picked herself. But yeah, I like that she told him at least, like, what she was planning on doing. But I honestly thought, like, after she left from Dublin and wanted to meet up with him, like, she was going to be the one, to confess. But that was not that.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought she was actually going to confess to Wallace. And then I was like, oh, this turned a 180. And then we played the blame game.
As it always happens.
Yeah.
As it naturally happens. But yeah.
Because I feel like the whole thing was almost kind of like emotional cheating. And no one really thinks of that when it comes to like infidelity and cheating. They always think about like the physicals. But like emotional, I think it's more common. Yeah. And also more dangerous. So, because if you're just not happy in your relationship, your emotions are going to go way out the door before you physically go out the door.
Yeah.
Like I have experience, but I'm just saying from viewing other people. As a very, very single person here.
These are very two single people's opinions about what love is, guys.
Guys, just like,
thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Opinions of two very single, have always been single people. So take what we say with a grain of salt.
Right? That's so funny, actually. Moving right. Do you have anything else to say about her character?
Not really. I just feel like your typical main lead in early 2010s movie.
Yeah. All right. Wallace. What did you think of Wallace?
Oh, dorky Wallace.
Yeah. That's how I would describe him. Dorky. It's like, the thing is though, like when I saw him in this movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, Daniel Radcliffe should do more like comedy movies because he's pretty good.
Yeah,
he's pretty good.
He's actually very funny.
He's actually very funny. I'm like, oh my goodness, you could pull this off. Did I agree with some of the jokes? No, but he's
so
good.
Do you have any specific jokes that bothered you, or you're just talking about like the way he jokes?
I think just like that type of humor is not my type of humor, but I can see why people would see him funny.
Yeah, because I feel like he kind of has like almost my sense of humor where it's kind of like sarcastic, and the way you say it, people can't tell if you're joking or not. Mm-hmm. So I find his humor in that. I just don't think the things they were joking about, I can be like, you're so funny.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the topics itself. But the style is fine. I like the style though.
Yeah, because that's how we joke.
That is how we joke. That is true.
We used to confuse our superiors at the library so much when we would talk to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, good times.
That's true. I realize a lot of people have a hard time, like, picking up sarcasm.
More than you realize?
Yeah, because I think with sarcasm, you have to, you notice the tone more. Like, when the tone is slightly off, then you know, oh, okay, the person is sarcastic. But if they speak in a completely flat tone, that's really hard to pick up. And I'm like, okay.
That's true. That's why I think I'm like around new people who don't know me, I'm very quiet because like I can't tell. I'm like, okay, if I say this, will you think of me like as a bad person, or do you know I'm joking?
I'm very careful when it comes to new people. Like, I'll start with a very benign, sarcastic joke. If it goes over their head, I'm like, okay, this is too soon. I just go back to my normal, hi, hello, how are you?
Right, you gotta put on that customer service. So anyway, how about that weather we're having, right?
All right, guess this joke's not gonna work.
No.
But yeah, I actually appreciated his like pessimistic, sarcastic demeanor. It really worked for his character, I think, because he's coming from like a background of where his girlfriend cheated on him. His parents cheated on each other, so he's just like very pessimistic about the whole thing.
And do we know if like his sisters, I don't know if they ever got married or boyfriend or whatever, cheated on her as well? They did. That whole family just don't seem like to have a good like relationship record.
I don't think they mention it, actually.
I don't think so either.
We just know that he's missing from the picture.
Yeah, he's just not there. I think that also pulls into like how he sees everything, not like as a joke, but kind of like doesn't take stuff seriously.
Yeah,
because he's just seen a lot of hurt in his life and hurt himself.
But you know what, though, even though he had that problem, I think his character grew a little bit, like, because he was the first one to take a step. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's been hurt. Yeah, he's very pessimistic. He had that whole argument with his best friend about, like, whether or not he should, like, you know, confess. And he actually decided to do it. So I really like the character growth that came with him.
Yeah, it was hard at first because you could see the battle he had. He always mentioned, like, his parents cheating on each other.
Yeah.
But then, like, he would notice the patterns. He was doing it himself. He just didn't know how to, like, stop it, especially when it came to, like, his crush on Chantry. Yeah. You can see he tried to just be like, okay, we're just friends. I think he meant that, too. I'm just going to be her friend. But, like, the feelings are taking over and she has a boyfriend. So, like, what am I doing?
That reminds me of that scene where he's, like, on his roof and, like, he has her number in her hand and he just lets the paper fly away. Like, that shows you that he didn't want, like, his intentions pure, I guess you could say.
And in a way, I guess.
In a way. Like, he wanted to just be friends, but he didn't want it to, like, get too far. In a sense, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Also, real quick,
but you can't really deduce that, though.
Not talking about him. Did iPhone still used to look like that in 2013? I was shocked when I saw his iPhone. I was like, oh my God, I remember when they used to look like this. So old.
You know, I think they did, actually.
I couldn't remember if they did.
I think they did because I think they did. Like, only like within the past 5 years did they start getting like bigger and longer and more techy.
I was like, talk about a time, like looking back at time.
The iPhones actually seem like they're from like the 1990s or something. And I'm like, oh my God.
It's not. It's like 2012.
Every time I saw that tiny phone in his hand, I'm like, oh gosh, that is so tiny.
And the way the pixels looked and like the old apps, like when YouTube used to have its own app and it looked like an old like TV and stuff like that. I was like, oh God.
Yeah. Does YouTube not have a TV on its logo? I thought it still did.
It's just like the play button.
Oh, it's the play button. That's right.
Yeah, but it looked like an old TV where like the screen was like greenish and then like had like an outer box of like brown and like knobs on it.
Really?
If people had old iPhones or iPods, they know what I'm talking about with the own logo. So, because it used to be like pre-installed to like iPods and iPhones before, they updated everything.
Gotcha.
Just wanted to bring that up. It just felt weird when I saw that. I was like, oh my God, is that an iPhone?
Yeah, I did.
Prehistoric.
All right, do you have anything else to say about his character? I thought he was just nerdy.
Yeah.
He fit the character well.
That's pretty much it. Just nerdy, very self-aware of his situation. Just things like that. This movie didn't really go into like too much character depth in the way, so it's kind of hard to like
not
really explain them because I feel like we didn't really
get much out of them.
Yeah, and but like you said, it was short and it was fast paced, so it was mostly just like they meet, we see them hang out a lot, trying not to like each other, but like the flirtation's always there. Things happen, confess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the characters are not too deep, so in a way I kind of like that it's not, because it just would make the overall plot heavy. It wouldn't have fit the plot.
Right. But this is also when movies did not used to be like 3 hours long, so.
Are they 3 hours long now?
I mean, all the Marvel movies are.
Really?
Wow. When was the last time you watched a Marvel movie?
A while ago.
Girl.
But see, it doesn't bother me though, because Indian movies are 3+ hours long. So it's really? Like kind of normal. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
they're now actually starting to get shorter.
Interesting.
So it's like backwards.
It is backwards.
Yeah.
I don't know about other movies outside of Marvel, because honestly, I just realized I haven't really watched movies in a long time. Like, I mostly watch TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, from my understanding, even outside of Marvel, they're just starting to get longer.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, though. But anywho.
I mean,
were there any other characters you wanted to talk about? So there's the best friend, Alan. He was an okay character. I guess he was supposed to be the comic relief of the show.
Didn't really
I didn't find him funny.
He was kind of more like annoying, but like his character type, like that frat boy, don't really care, but like is deeper than what he shows. It was like, okay, whatever.
All right. Yeah, I saw that too, and I just ran with it. I'm like, okay, you do you.
Exactly.
Same thing with the girlfriend too, Nicole.
Yeah, I never expected them to like actually stay together.
Yeah.
So that surprised me.
They also hit it off instantly too.
Right.
At that party.
But that's another thing, like Wallace had a problem with like everyone talking about him in Chantry, because I guess when Nicole and Alan got together, Nicole had a boyfriend and he broke them up. So
yeah. He didn't want to be the one to break Chantry and her and Ben up.
Right.
But yeah.
So that was one, I guess, theme in there. But then like Alan also brought up a good point, like what I said earlier. I guess Nicole was already checked out from her boyfriend because he just wasn't a good person. So like,
yeah,
she was either going to leave him or cheat regardless. Leave him would be better, I morally say, but
on the moral side,
people are going to do what they're going to do.
That's true.
But he also was pointing that out to Wallace. So
yeah. Yeah, like I think one of the general themes in the movie is that whatever starts off dirty will end dirty, or starts off bad will end bad. Like if you start off cheating, you're going to end up breaking up because one of you is going to cheat. And I'm like, I guess that's basically just saying karma is going to happen in a different words, but I don't know. It's interesting because the way this movie portrayed it, that's not what happened, you know?
I don't know. I was looking at it more like, you know, that saying everyone says like the grass isn't greener on the other side. Like even though people are in these relationships aren't probably how they portray them as being like super happy, all lovey-dovey. Yeah.
I suppose. Fair enough. Yeah.
That and like you can't help your feelings. So
I kind of agree with that though. Like you sometimes can't help your feelings, but it's a matter of like whether or not you act on it.
Yeah, it's what you do with those feelings is what makes the main. What am I trying to say?
Exactly.
I'm losing my train of thought. Anyway, but yeah, Alan. So he did make some good points when he was all upset when him and Nicole had a big fight.
Yeah.
When he was talking to Wallace about the whole Chantry and Ben thing. So, but like even him, he had like his own mindset of Chantry and Ben's relationship that probably wasn't like true, because he always brought up like they've been together like 5 years. She's like happy. I'm like, well, is she happy?
Yeah.
And even her sister, that's one thing I didn't like, when her sister told Chantry that she's making a mistake choosing going to Taiwan for the job instead of like Ben. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What mistake? How do you know she's making a mistake?
Yeah.
Like, where is it your place to say she's making a mistake?
Yeah, that part I was like, no, she's not making a mistake. She's choosing herself. But when she was talking to Wallace when he came to see her, and she was like, she's in a relationship with Ben for 5 years. She went to Dublin, blah, 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 blah. You should do what you can to get over it. I thought she did the right thing there, just because of the way things were going. Because both of them didn't really say anything to each other. So he technically was under the assumption that she wants to be with Ben.
True. You know? I just didn't think she should have brought up they've been together 5 years, because I feel like, I mean, like, again, I'm looking at it today's time. I don't think being with someone for that long really means anything unless you guys are really, I won't even say in love, because like relationships is more about love. Like you're actually working to be together because you guys want to be together. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I understand to like leave her alone because she does have a boyfriend, but that's where like, I was trying to save this towards the end, but like, I'll still save it towards the end, my problem with the movie, because it's just one big word that I'm trying not to spoil. So
right.
Did we want to talk? Well, I mean, we pretty much talked about Nicole and Alan as a together. So there's not really much to say about her, because she does talk to Wallace during the wedding, but I forget what she is basically telling him. So
she's telling him to, I think, just tell her and not like to take a chance, basically.
Oh, she's the one that tells Wallace that he needs to confess? Yes, because it was her idea to leave them at the beach overnight after they, which was messed up. I thought that was so
messed up. I thought Adam and Eve when I saw that. I was like, is that what you're aiming for here?
I don't know what they're aiming for, but I would never talk to you again if you ditched me like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be so pissed. Yeah. You're non-existent to me anymore.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, end of friendship right then and there. No. Like, even if you apologized. No, exactly. That's not okay.
You're gonna leave me here in the middle of nowhere?
Without clothes? No.
On the off chance when we might hook up? If you don't get out of here.
And they didn't. I'm glad they didn't, though.
I'm glad they didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to, but... Because that would have been a whole nother mess if they did.
Yeah. It would have been. I don't know. Like, this movie brings up a lot of kind of like big questions in a sense, which I think do have sort of kind of easy answers. I don't know. What do you think? Can guys and girls be friends?
Yes, and I really don't understand why this is a huge debate.
Is it? Yeah, I think so too, honestly, but it depends obviously on the person.
I've always been that person like, yeah, you guys can be friends. I don't understand why.
I don't know what I think, but I think you can be.
I thought you were thinking of something really deep. Nafees right there.
It's a matter of like attraction though. Like if you have some sort of inkling of an attraction towards like your opposite gender friend or same gender, whatever, it doesn't like, I don't think it could work that way. But if you're not attracted to them at all, then yes, it could work. So it's a matter of whether you're attracted to the person or not.
That's true. Because another thing people don't talk about is like, what if you're like part of the LGBT community? That's like saying two people that are gay can't be friends because they're both gay, and it's like they're just going to automatically hook up. So I don't understand why we can't see that same logic with straight people.
Yeah.
If you're not attracted to them, you're not attracted to them. But if you like their like personalities.
That's a good point. I didn't think of it from the LGBT perspective.
No one usually does, but I'm like,
yeah,
we're always focused on just straight people.
That's a good point, yeah.
Because that's another thing too, like with that, like people think like, oh, because like I'm friends with someone who's like a girl and she's gay, then like she's gonna try to like hook up with me. I'm like, no, we can just be friends.
Yeah, that's possible.
Like you just said, it just depends if your intentions when you first speak to that person is attraction, if that's your first like initial, or if it's just to be friends. I think that's where that really comes for.
I remember sitting in a psychology class back in college, and there was a lady, and like we were talking about like, you know, gender roles and things like that. And so one of the questions was, what is something that is misunderstood about people that are like gay or lesbians, right? So she raised her hand and she was like, just because I'm a lesbian does not mean you cannot be friends with me, okay? I'm not going to try to hook up with you. I'm not going to try to do anything to you. We can be just friends. And I'm like, oh my gosh, someone must have done something for her to just like, bam, on the spot say that. So yeah.
She's probably fed up because that's a huge stereotype as well, so.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. Glad. Good to know.
I will say, though, sometimes it is hard because there are also those cases where, like, you intentions are started as friends, but then you can develop a crush on them. So.
How would you approach that? Like, let's say that friend is in a relationship, like it is in this show or movie. How would you approach it?
I mean, it just depends on like your personality. Me as a person, if you're asking me myself, I would just leave that alone. So, but I don't think I've ever had a crush on someone who was in a relationship.
I think it would be difficult though, wouldn't it? Like every time you hung out.
Yeah, I had crushes on people that liked someone else. So that was hard. And I was really young and stupid. So like, I do remember there were times where I can be like, oh, you know, maybe if I try harder, or like be like this, always there, like I can get them to like me. But then like you just realize at the end of the day, it does not work that way. Like they're either going to like you back or they don't.
Yeah. So sad. This is such a complicated thing. Gosh.
It's a gray area.
It's a big gray
area. You can also
be
like, oh, it's like this. But then like as you're, especially me as I'm talking, I'm like, well, it can also be like this as well.
True. It can honestly go like any way.
Yeah, humans are feeble creatures, so
humans are interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting creatures.
Is that a good interesting or a bad interesting?
Take it as you wish.
Okay. That is up to interpretation.
That is left for interpretation, exactly. What are your thoughts about the just friends concept?
Like in the movie?
Mm-hmm. Or in general? I think in this movie, it was probably one of the... I see that is what moved the plot, but it's just so dumb. Like, you can't do that. Like, you can clearly tell there's stuff there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I guess the way it worked out in the movie was because like she was all confused and everything because Ben was away, not giving her attention, and she's like, okay, I have Wallace here, who is, and like she's all confused and whatnot, but they dragged it out way too long.
Yeah.
Like way too long.
I don't know. I feel like my answer is kind of the same answer as if guys and girls can be friends, so.
Yeah. I don't know. Like if you have, it's complicated. That's my answer to everything. It depends and it's complicated. Like there you, but it, yeah.
No, say,
I don't know.
What were you thinking?
I don't know what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I was just frustrated. That's what I was.
Just frustrated.
But yeah. Anywho.
I mean, I don't see how it could happen. People could just be friends, guys.
Yes.
Sometimes I pull. Oh, so like what you said with Chantry mentioning Ben, like sometimes people can confuse feelings with just loneliness.
Yeah. That is true.
Dropping the mic as I walk away. Like I said something so deep. No. But yeah, I think about that a lot too. Like sometimes, especially as I get older, I'm like, okay, do I actually like this person like romantically? Or like, am I just pushing strong feelings onto them because I'm lonely and I mostly just need a friend more than a partner?
Yeah, that can be really hard to differentiate though.
It can be.
Because it could be all of the above.
And that's also like you have to look into yourself and like try to go into your feelings. And
that's too much work. That's why people should stay single. I need to stop. Don't listen to me, guys. My advice, I should say. Don't listen to my advice.
Now listen to us. Listen to the podcast, but...
yeah. But yeah. Do you have any other big question, big theme things that you noticed that we didn't discuss?
Okay, I guess I can go into this now. Because I'll tie it up with like the movie. My biggest theme that I had noticed in this movie was just lack of communication.
Yeah.
Which basically was what started all of this drama, especially with like, we're just friends. No, we're flirting. So there might be like a chance once you and Ben break up. It's just all around, especially between, how do you say it? I feel like I've been saying her name wrong. Chantry? Okay, yes, between Chantry and Wallace was just like the lack of communications of where they stood because I think they felt like they had like telepathically an understanding when they really didn't, because Wallace the whole time just thought, even though he knew about like his past with cheating and then like his old girlfriend cheating and his parents cheating, in his mind he thought he had a chance with her when Chantry just thought they were just going to be friends. And then it made her break out like, well, do I actually really like this guy? Like outside of friendship. And I've just been hiding it because I am in a relationship with Ben. And it made her question like, even though I've been with Ben for like 5 years, do I really love him enough to like really want to stay with him or like start a family? So altogether, it was just a lack of communication from everybody.
Yeah.
Even with like when she went to go see Ben in Dublin and like she was shocked to hear that one lady say like he got
another 6 months of promotion.
And then he was trying to tell her like I didn't accept the job yet, but then she's like, well, you didn't even tell me that was an option, which is true. So
that is true.
That's a whole lack of communication right there.
Yeah. I was like, oh man. And like I'm not sure if you caught that, but like in the beginning, it made it seem like when Ben moved, her and Ben were not in constant contact with each other.
Yeah, it didn't seem like, I mean, they never said anything, but it didn't seem like they really talk that much.
Yeah.
She never mentioned like, you know, calling Ben like either every day or every other day. I almost just thought they stopped talking to each other.
Yeah.
Till she went to go surprise him, so.
Yeah. But that's like part of like the problems with like a long distance relationship though, is like the communication part itself. Because like that's why it is very important to be like as communicative as you can. Because especially with a long distance relationship, there's a lot of room for doubt. There's a lot of room for like you said, like different things could happen.
Miscommunication,
scenarios that shouldn't happen. So there's a lot of room for a lot of things that should not happen to happen.
Yeah, but I feel like that can happen in relationships even when y'all are with each other. It doesn't even have to be long distance, to be honest. There can just be a lack of communication. True. Y'all sleep in the same bed.
Yeah, true. But I think there's just more factors involved when the person is not around you.
The risk is higher during long distance relationships. But I'm just saying, like, miscommunication in relationships in general can happen, whether y'all are like 12 hours away from each other or, like I said, sitting next to each other in the same house.
Yeah, that's true. So work on your communication, guys. Make sure you're talking.
Yes.
It's so interesting, though, because, like, even though, like, we get taught, like, you have to communicate well, whether you, like, you know how we're like, oh, communication is such a big barrier for a lot of things. We still don't communicate the way we need to. Like, in order for the other person to understand, we can't just assume that they know things. Like, we have to, like, verbally say it.
Right.
Even if it's, like, so minute. So that can be a little difficult to master, so...
We're told to always like communicate, but we never taught like how to properly communicate. Because I feel like sometimes when people try to, and I have that problem too sometimes when like I'm just trying to express my feelings, the other person thinks I'm projecting onto them like all their faults, and I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to tell you like how what you did made me feel, even if that's not how you intended it to like come off or to say that. So that's another problem as well. Not even just like relationships, just like friendships.
Yeah, or like, you know, they usually label people who are like, I guess, better at communicating as like straight up people, like no filter, right? Like they won't hold back what they're saying. But that's essentially what you should be doing to begin with, you know? I
mean, the filter to a certain extent, because sometimes people with no filter can be straight up mean.
Yeah, that's true. But like, you get what I'm trying to say, right? Like they just have this label. Even though they're a bit more honest about certain things.
I get that. But yeah. Well, that was my biggest theme I took out of this whole movie. What about you?
Oh my gosh, they cheated. I don't know. Did she end up cheating on Ben or not?
I don't think so. What? I don't think they ever actually...
Because at the end, he asked her, how are you and Ben doing? And she's like, I'm not so sure. Before they started making out. So I'm just like, so they didn't break up.
Wait, are you talking about when they gave each other the fool's gold?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, now that you said that, I was under the impression they had broken up.
I thought so too, but then when she said not so sure, I'm like, oh.
Oh, see, I didn't even catch that.
And I'm like, so if that was the case, then my dear cheated. And it's like, okay, no. And she made this huge deal about crossing lines earlier.
Right.
And then here she is.
Huh. I don't know. I guess she did then.
Mm-hmm. If it didn't end with them cheating and getting together, then this would have been a really cute story. But they did. And it's like, no. If you were not so sure about this dude, you should have broken up with him and then figured yourself out and then got together with Wallace. But hey, here we are.
Yeah. Because then, like, I mean, I feel like did we spoil this movie?
About that.
Yeah, we've kind of already done this anyway. Big thing is, like, after they're making out, you'll see, like, an 18 months later, and then, like, they pretend, like, there's another scene where they did that too, when I think they saw the same movie, but, like, separately, and Wallace was outside, like, on his phone, and, like, she pretended not to see him, and then a taxi acts, and then they, like, pretending, like, oh, I didn't see you there, and, like, talking all casually. They did the same thing when she came back from Taiwan, even though they both had luggage carts, and then, like, pretending they haven't seen each other for those 18 months. She's like, yeah, some guy followed me all the way to Taiwan, and, you know, now I'm engaged. And he's like, oh, yeah, me too, even though I have the ring. And you find out they're engaged to each other. So,
yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I thought that part was pretty funny and cheesy and cute. So, because I feel like I would do that same banter if I had a partner, be like, oh, how are you doing? Like, yeah, we just came back from the same flight. Oh, really? What a coincidence.
Yeah.
I did think that part was cute.
That was a cute scene. It was cute, but I just didn't like how she cheated. Like, that was it.
Yeah.
I have an issue with cheating. Like, I just feel like you should not do that to another person. If you're not sure about them, let them go. Leave. Say bye. And then do your own thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, people's emotions and everything are involved, and it's just emotionally taxing at that point. For both them and you, so.
It's easier said than done, but...
Mm-hmm.
I've never cheated or been cheated on. Again, I've never been in a relationship. So this is all coming from a single person's view. But for some reason, I'm that
third
right
party point of view.
I am always that single friend who always ends up giving my friends relationship advice.
Yeah, I am that person too. But to be fair, surprisingly enough, my advice typically hits on the mark. Right.
It usually works or when you say something about a person, like, I don't know about them. Not to, like, brag and say I'm always right, but I'm usually always right.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's because we have that third party perspective. We're able to see it that clearly.
Probably. Because, like, do you think we still be able to, like, think like this if we ever ended up in relationships?
Oh, most likely not.
Oh, you don't think you don't have any
somebody
faith
else
in
to be our third party?
Okay.
No, because we're talking from, we're not emotionally invested in that relationship, so we can see things that they can't. But when we ourselves would be in one, then yeah, it would be different.
True.
But yeah.
Dang.
Anything else you want to say about the movie? I think we pretty much covered everything.
I think so too. I think we had a pretty good discussion. God, I cannot talk.
Oh, I couldn't talk at all either, slurring and skipping over my words.
It's fine, you know? We're only human, it's fine. So,
do you want to rate the movie? What would you rate it out of 10?
I mean, I think I had a higher rating than you did before we started discussing it, but as we discuss it, my rating has changed. So I'll give it, like, how are we doing this, out of 10?
Out of 10, yeah.
I'll give it like a 6.5 out of 10.
That's higher than mine.
I thought, is yours lower than what you told me before we started recording?
No.
Okay, what was your
6.5 is higher than 6.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it's still the same range, but
yeah. No, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. It lost 2 points, honestly, because of the whole cheating thing.
Because of the whole cheating.
But overall, it's a nice movie. It's quirky. It's cute. The characters are likable to an extent. Like, there was no character that I hated.
Right.
I did feel really, really bad about Ben. Like, we just never hear about him, like, after the Dublin incident.
I mean, honestly, Ben was almost kind of irrelevant in this whole movie, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but I liked his character, though, so I kind of wanted to see more of him.
He was okay.
Yeah. But I think Daniel's performance was really good.
Yeah.
And Zoe's performance was good, too. But yeah, overall, it was nice. Probably just a one-time watch. Would not want to watch it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. You said 6.5.
I said 6.5.
6. Yeah, so I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
So we're pretty much on the same like agreement as how we feel about this movie.
What was yours earlier? What was it before?
I think I mean, it was still pretty. I think I was going to give it a 7 to be nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're still pretty nice. You only docked it by like a half a point.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm also just not a big rom-com person, like I said, so.
I like, lately I'm not a rom-com person either. Just because everything's so cliche and so like cheesy. I'm like, I want something new, something fresh. Like it's like reinventing the wheel, kind of.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Maybe reinventing the way we see rom-com.
Yeah. But that's a big task.
But like,
so I mean,
yeah, but like they're so cliche. It'd be weird to like break out of their box, but like you kind of want them to break out of their box in that sense.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe I'll change my rating. I will give it a 6 as well. A 5.5.
Oh, wow.
No, I'll give it a 6. I will give it a solid 6.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. Didn't love it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, didn't love it. It was a good one-time watch.
Something to watch when you're bored. Now, if I ask someone else who I know loves rom-com, she'd probably give it like an 8. So,
really?
Yeah. I won't say who, but I had a person in mind. So, do you think you would give it the same rating if you had watched this back when this came out?
Honestly, it would probably be higher.
Would it be like a 7 or would it be like an 8?
It would probably be like an 8 or an 8.5. Okay. Just because like the way they get together, it's like, oh my God, so cute, so quirky, so different, so nerdy. Like those would have been the things that I would have thought were like ideal. But like with age, experience, and time, you realize that that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like there's things you need to do before you get with another person, like figure your old relationship out, figure yourself out. So yeah, I probably honestly would have liked it if I watched it when it came out.
Okay. I wouldn't.
What about you?
Oh, I mean, I would have been way too young to like notice the problems.
Subtleties.
So yeah, I probably would have given it like maybe even because of the quirky and nerdiness, I might have given it a 9 when I was younger. So. Especially being in high school.
I'm thinking, like, because of the quirkiness, I probably wouldn't have noticed a lot of the things.
Right.
It would have just been typical normal.
Yeah. Because if
But it's not typical, not normal. Yeah.
If they were, like, your average, like... What's the word? I guess non-nerdy, basically. You would notice it, but since they were nerdy, you don't notice the problems.
Yeah.
Not saying nerdy is a bad thing. Because I'm very nerdy. And I'd probably flirt exactly like that.
Probably.
If we're being honest.
But now that I think about it, I've actually had conversations with people before, like...
And you're thinking,
exactly like that. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. What?
It's coming back to you.
This is what I mean. I don't notice these things until someone points it out to me.
It's coming back to you.
Did.
You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, so I had some self-reflection there too.
Oh my God. That's funny.
But yeah, I think like that style would probably be my style too. So in that sense, I liked it.
Okay. Is that all we want to say? So if you guys agree or disagree, watch the movie What If on Amazon Prime if you have Prime. If not, I'm sure you can find another way to watch it and let us know what you think.
Yep.
Your views might be a lot different than ours.
Yeah, probably. All right, you want to end it off?
Sure. So thanks for listening to today's episode of I Was Thinking. You can follow us everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean just Instagram and Twitter at the moment at I Was Thinking Pod. If you have any questions, you can email us at iwasthinkingpod@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.